Welcome to today's Clone Your Favourite T-shirt episode. So if you've been following on with the painting, you'll have seen that I had a really lovely black T-shirt with the floral panel. And what you didn't know was I actually made that T-shirt. And I'm going to teach you today how to do that yourself. So I know you've all got a favourite T-shirt. I know it's super hard to get a good T-shirt. So problem solved. We're going to clone one. And all we're going to do is trace out the shapes of your favourite T-shirt. Then we're going to sew it up, sewing machine or overlocker, either will do. We do need to know the basic shapes of our T-shirt first of all. So this is an AI image, and you'll see that there is a front and a back and an arm. Not counting the collar because we're not going to do one. We're just going to trim it. So front, back, arm, 3 shapes. Let's get going. Let's start with the front shape. Fold it in half and put the fold against the edge of your paper. Now take some fiddly time to sort out a flat half of the front shape. I'm feeling with my fingers to get the seam lines lying over each other. And once I've got that bit sorted, use your pen and trace the neckline. Then trace the shoulders. Seam lines are together. And then we'll take some time to get the next part of it lying flat in half. We're about to do the armhole openings, and I'm feeling with my fingers and tracing under the fabric with my pen. So I'm really using the touch of my fingertips to guide that line. You notice that things are fluid, things are not falling out particularly 2D and neat. Here we go. We'll do the same thing for the side seam. And actually this has fallen out not too badly. I label my centre front fold. I put on it's the whatever it is, it's the front of my T-shirt, and then I can cut that out. Some T-shirts are easier than others because they are very basic 2D cutout. This one is a little more fluid, so I will run into troubles a little later, and I'll show you the reality of that. I'm going to give myself a good chunk of contingency for the hem because that has to match up with my back. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a straight line so I've got something against which to put the fold of my back shape. Same thing again, trying to get these seam lines to lie straight and flat over each other, folded directly in half. When I have it sorted out, I'm using the same fingertip touch method with the pen under the fabric to actually trace around my back shape. And this is what happens with a more quality drafted garment. I can't make it go flat in half, and therefore I've got some mismatch in my tracing. I need to work out what's going on, where I made the error, and I'm going to do that by actually going with a flat shape. So back is up to my eyes, and I'm making it flat. I'm going to find the center back at the neckline and at the hemline, and then put my vertical drawn line against those points so I can trace out the flat lying shape in orange. So because my fabric is old, it's fluid, and I think the drafting was really well done, aka made for a 3D shape, this has not fallen out really easily, and I'm going to go back to the folded shape and double check things. So again, I pick up a different color. It just helps me keep track of things, and I'm going to do a third trace. Now, as you can see, I've got a few lines here, so I'm just going to take the difference and work out the most sensible, smooth armhole and sketch that in. And then the same thing around the rest of the T-shirt. My hem is a little wrinkly, so taking time to ease that out. At the side seam, we see that the back is a little larger than the front, and so it's flipped around, which is why I can't fold it directly in half. So I've just noted that difference and I'm sketching out to that point. And now it's time to do a rough cutout, giving ourselves a little bit of contingency. the centre back will be the centre back. Time for another check. Lay out the back flat, no folds. Find the centre back bifolding. And I should have used a peg or a pin here to mark it, but I didn't have any to hand, so I'm using my fingers. You also want to find the centre back at the neckline. So you can put the straight edge of your pattern, centre back fold, lined up in that manner, and then walk yourself around all of your sketched in lines to make sure that your trace is actually accurate. Now I'm showing you the reality here. I'm going to need to make some changes yet again. Another colour, another change. But we do this process as many times until we're confident that this is actually correct. I could have shown you an easy fallout of this tracing method, but I really wanted you to see that it doesn't necessarily fall out quick and easy like those short videos show you. And this is what you do instead to make your pattern actually accurate. It's also worth noting that this is not a fault of you. This could actually be a marker of a quality draft. You do get some patterns which are just oversized and 2D. The ones that are more complicated and can't be neatly folded flat in half means that they've got some 3D shaping that's going to pop out when you join up the join lines. Okay, when you're satisfied that you've done everything as well as you can, put the cut shape against your t-shirt, give it another check that it's all lying well. Let's true up the two sides. As you can see, here's my side seam. And when I join the shoulder seam, well, it's made for a woman. This t-shirt has room for a boob. You see that 3D shape popping up? That's actually good. Let's have a look at the hem. And as you can see, my line was actually perfect. So I'm just going to cut that away now for the hem. Do another little check. Just a little smidge to take off here because I want my sewing to be easy. And I'm also going to smooth that out visually. Okay, so that's all fitting quite well for sewing. Let's look at this hemline again. Here we go, just smoothing out that line. You can see there's a slight curve. Let's make it straight. All right, we're pretty good now. Okay, two pieces done. Let's label them, centre back fold, centre back, the back piece of our t-shirt pattern. And we are almost finished our clone pattern. So with the sleeve, we fold it in half at the shoulder seam and mark that fold in, mark in the hemline of the sleeve, and then we're going to trace around the curve of the front part of that sleeve. Now the curve is different in the front and in the back, so we're really paying attention to get the curve exact where that seam lies. I'm also going to draw in that seam and I'm going to mark that this is the front part because the curve is going to be different on the back. So flip it over, keeping it as still as possible. Measure up again next to the fold line that you've marked. I'm going to just get this out on this piece of paper. And again, use the, I'll get my hemline in first on my side seam, but then I'm going to slip my pen underneath my held down curved seam. And look, voila, my curve has fallen out nicely. The back is different to the front, and it's time to cut that out. We will also check that the side seams are the same length, which is good. And now we need to check around the armhole measurements. We have to measure both pieces because the complete circle around that armhole is made of the front piece and the back piece. I actually write down my measurements on my pattern because I forget, and then I can add them together very easily to get the total circumference. And that measurement has to match up with the curve of your sleeve cap. So here we go, using our flexible tape measure to measure around the sleeve cap all the way, keeping it as accurate as possible. And if we've been careful enough, we're going to find out whether we were and whether it matches up. In my case, yes, this was a very nicely drawn out sleeve, and it matches perfectly to the armhole. And our finished pattern: arm, front piece, back piece, done. And that's part 1 for us. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to sew that up on sewing machine or overlocker. Now, if I compare that to my original t-shirt, even though it's old and it's a little funky on me, I still love it. It was a pretty good job. Now, the proof of that is always in the wear. And I really liked the feel of my new black t-shirt. It's such a soft modal fabric. It's got all the drape and flow that I love, and it doesn't rise when I lift my arms up. It's a lovely t-shirt to wear. And of course, if you were doing the painting series, you'll see that we can add some fabric paint to elevate and get the graphics on there in a different form. Until next time, enjoy your comfy life.